interoperable, and this comes a lot to the data standards area. Data standards ensure longevity. Yeah. Beware at the moment of non-standard standards. And what do I mean by that? Well, there's a whole series of different industry groups which are working together to produce standards which are not working together with international standardization bodies. So some of these will go forward and hopefully be adopted, but some of the other ones are just groups of interested parties who are almost sort of keeping out the international community until they produce what they would call a standard. Beware of this. I'm not going to go into any more details about that, but it's something that has plagued industry for many, many years. And you only need to look at things like which connector have you got in the bottom of your mobile phone, and which direction has which mobile phone company decided to go with their connectors to realize that this is happens all around the world, all around trade. Do systems work? Are you working in an Apple world, or are you working in an Android world, or a Windows world, or a Google world? Okay, standardization is very important, and you never know what's going to be the main standard in, say, in 5 or 10 years' time. So your systems must be able to handle change, but they also must be based on something solid with the rate standardization. So PDF, everyone was using PDF, portable document format, but which version? When people started to think this was a great secure way to exchange information, all of the rights to the PDF format and the control of what was allowed in a PDF format was with Adobe. Now that's fine. It is a great standard for moving between different operating systems, different operating environments, but at the time it was completely regulated by a commercial entity. So is this a standard? Well, it's a standard insofar as it was used by everybody, yeah. And there were other companies that were generating PDFs that weren't quite PDFs. They didn't quite have all the features in the latest Adobe version. We're very lucky nowadays that these PDFAs are now ISO standards. So there is open documentation, so that in 50 years, 100 years, someone who wants to try and read one of these files, if they have to, can look at the standard, can look at the file, and they can write their own software code to be able to extract the information, should there be no more PDF readers around. You don't know. And we don't know when you look back within the record retention schedule. Yeah, these records quite often are required by law, depending on your area, to be retained for 60 years or 100 years. If you go back 60 years or 100 years from today, if we go back to 1920, yeah, let's think about how many electronic data formats can we read from 1920. Yeah, just think about records. Yeah, ways of recording music. How many people have systems which can read this storage format? Yeah, it's not that easy, and the development speeds of our systems is only increasing. Okay, one of the things we're looking at was the storage of metadata files, and a lot of the work that we've done in the past was around trying to find an international standards to migrate raw data into an international standard format. The problem has always been, especially the work we did with UPAC, we tried to find the lowest common denominator for the critical information that could move between systems and make sure that data on one system would be shown the same on another system. That's fine, but you can never lock down the instrument manufacturers or the equipment manufacturers to not developing more and cleverer and better systems. And that means the data formats they have to use to be able to deploy these new functionality will always change. Okay, so we need to be very careful about this change, that we do not try and lock down innovation, block innovation by locking people into too many standards that are not extendable. So you need to look at being able to store the original data. And here, with a lot of systems, you need to be very careful that what you think is the original data is, in fact, everything that a processing software needs. There are some manufacturers that have critical files spread all over the operating system. Yeah, you don't look at it because when you take a measurement, you see in your area this new measurement file. But in order to read that, some of the software systems then go out and pull files from all over the system area, in the program files area and the applications area, to make it readable. So be very careful when you're archiving the raw data to make sure you've actually captured all of the files that are required to make this reusable on another system. Okay. Finally, interoperable. Make sure that you're planning when you're deploying a new system that this system will also become old. And at the moment, they become old pretty quick. So plan now when you're looking for a vendor, looking for a system you want to buy. Yeah, how are you going to migrate in out of it? And we'll see that again in a minute. Okay. What happens when this new system needs to be replaced or upgraded? Yeah. Think about that. How's the data going to come back out again? All right. So do it now and test with the different systems you're looking at. How does the data come out of the system so I can then put it into my new data system, say in 5 years' time? Yeah, because we won't need something. We've outgrown this particular archive. It's now got far too slow. We need to go to a bigger, better, faster system. This vendor maybe exists. This vendor no longer exists. How do we make sure we bring everything together into a new system? So plan for that now before you deploy. Okay.